introduction. Now, there are several ways of presenting your credentials when you go to a meeting. So you present your passport, or you present your badge, or people simply know who you are, like our ministers here, so they let you pass. But in the case of the OECD, I wanted to show you competitiveness in Southeast Europe, policy outlook. So, as you can see, this is the at-a-glance report. You know, you can really sift through it very fast. Then, this is very interesting. The SME Policy Index, because what is this region if not a very great collection of hundreds of thousands of SMEs. And here we have worked with the European Commission, and thank you, Commissioner Hahn, for your support, with the European Bank for Reconstruction and Development, the ETF, and of course the OECD, in what I would call, well, I'll just read you the titles. Western Balkans and Turkey 2019. Serbia, Small Business Act Profile. Kosovo, Small Business Act Profile. North Macedonia, Small Business Act Profile. Turkey, Small Business Act Profile. Montenegro, Small Business Act Profile. Bosnia, Small Business Act Profile. And of course, Albania. And there's a big fat overall document, Western Balkans and Turkey 2019 assessment, the implementation of the Small Business Act Europe. So, and then, as was mentioned by Marco, we are going to be delivering, unleashing the transformation potential for growth in the Western Balkans, a little later in the day. So this is the way we earn our access to this meeting, you know, by working very hard and by delivering, and as Marco suggested, year in and year out, our association with the region dates from the very beginning of the concept. Now, let me tell you, it's an honor to join you today. The annual summit is a key milestone in our efforts to increase the well-being of citizens. It's the 30th anniversary of big democratic transformations in Central Europe. It's the 50th anniversary of European enlargement. And of course, which better place than Poland to discuss about this? Our host is a great example of the many benefits of multilateralism and multilateral cooperation. And this is what this is about today. It's a celebration of multilateralism. Now, Poland, of course, became an OECD member in '96, and then easier exercise joining the European Union in 2004. It's after they have done the heavy lifting and the hard, difficult things of joining the OECD, then they could join actually a number of countries joined the European Union first, then the OECD, and then the other way around. Many, joined the European Union first, and then came to us, and a number of countries are now in that process. Now, living standards, of course, in the process have increased significantly, and in our latest economic outlook, we project that Poland's economy will grow at a rate which is double that of the OECD average by this year and next year. Not bad, no, only double. Now, Western Balkans, the untapped potential of the Western Balkans. Now, what has happened? Well, let me just say that the Western Balkans have doubled the size of their GDP in the last decade. They have increased foreign direct investment 10 times. That's a nice round figure. And export volumes have increased 6 times. And despite having been hit by the same crisis, which affected us all. They did much better. They navigated the crisis better. And let me also say that the perspective of EU enlargement and the powerful incentive this constituted, together with the Berlin process, has really strengthened economic cooperation in the region. Now let me mention just briefly some of the 4 aspects of the report that we're preparing today, the elements of, first, functioning labor market and a skilled, upskilling, reskilling, skilled labor force. That's crucial. Unemployment in the Western Balkans remained high, 20%. And the share of young people not in employment, education or training, there is double that of the EU and the OECD. Not good numbers. Reaching gender equality in the labor market is a very urgent necessity. Women represent 60% of all inactive workers in the Western Balkans. And they only represent 40%, therefore, of the employed personnel. Much lower numbers than in the comparisons with the EU in general or the OECD averages, etc. High qualified workers are therefore leaving. We're losing their talent. They're going for better employment opportunities abroad, and this has resulted in a broad mismatch of the talents, the skills, and the needs that the companies are saying that they require in order to, well, come and establish in the region. So, second, you need to create a favorable investment environment for all types of companies and businesses. Now, here we're talking about small and medium enterprises. Because they face particularly problems for skilling, upskilling, adopting technology, but also, of course, in the access to credit. Now, I just mentioned and showed you the document of the SME Policy Index of the Western Balkans and Turkey, which, just in very great detail, economy by economy, and we went there, in very great detail, showing you which is the proposed way. And then, of course, we have the need to develop digital transport and energy infrastructures in order to make it all happen. Here, the question of connectivity, Marco alluded to this several times, and then some ministers alluded to also Commissioner Hahn. The question of connectivity becomes crucial because I have been, in 20 different international meetings in the last few months, and in all of them they were discussing the challenges and the wonderful opportunities of digital, artificial intelligence and blockchain, and what's going to happen with technology, digital. The question is then, what do we do with digital? Can we leapfrog? Can we jump over time rather than have to repeat again and again, or be threatened by the digital because we're going to lose some of the jobs that are there already, So, what's going to be the answer that we as a region, we in the Western Balkans can provide? So, now, again, our report in competitiveness in Southeast Europe, a policy outlook, is a rich resource on how to make economies more interconnected, resilient, and prosperous. We just put out at the OECD the principles of artificial intelligence. How are we going to apply that to the region? We just put out our digital strategy. How are we going to put out that to the region? And then we even put out a big fat book about measurement of where we are, the indicators of where we are with the digital, so that sort of GPS, where we are with the progress of the digital. Because if you don't know where you are, then you don't know where you want to go, or how long it will take you to get there. And of course, the region needs more trade and investment. Dear friends, We have to lower the trade barriers, the barriers to foreign direct investment. We do it in FDI, export-oriented, enhancing areas like automotive, machinery, agro-food, metal processing sectors. By the way, 1 year ago, we projected that the world economy is going to be growing at 4% per year in 2019 and 2020. A few days ago, we projected that it was going to be growing at 3.2%.